Well, school may be out for the summer, but today we have a very special teacher with us.
And have you ever been to the Soulard Farmers Market yet this year? We have the market master here to let us know why it's been a St. Louis favorite for over 200 years.
Have you ever taken a selfie? They seem to be a way of life these days, and they've also inspired a very interesting new art exhibit. We have some to show you, and you may recognize a face or two.
All that and more coming up on this edition of St. Louis Presents. June edition of St. Louis Presents. We have a great show for you. We are all hopefully enjoying our summer break.
What summer break?
I know, exactly. I just got back from a vacation though, and I'm covered with bruises because it was an arduous trip with my children.
I don't even want to know what you were doing. Okay, I was about to say, the kiddos possibly.
We're going to meet a teacher who is the Teacher of the Year for the St. Louis schools, which is amazing. But I'm really looking forward to this interview that you guys are doing on this selfie exhibit, because a couple of years ago, that wasn't even a word. I mean, it's in the dictionary now, but now selfies are everywhere.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, with social media blowing up, it's a phenomenon, and now it's everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere, especially Instagram because of all the filters and stuff.
Make yourself look all glam.
I know, and I heard you might have a little affiliation with it.
This
maybe?
is close to my heart because I happen to be in this selfie show. It's at the PhD Art Gallery, but the interesting thing about it was I'd never taken a selfie before this, so this is my one and only selfie, so it was a interesting experience.
I can't wait to see what it looks like.
Never.
Okay, I was taking selfies before selfies were cool, I just want to say, because I'm always the picture taker, and so I'm never in the photos. So even before cell phone cameras, I was always the one, if I wanted a picture of myself in the family album, I'd have to take it myself.
Oh, that's so funny.
But they didn't have that word then. It wasn't called a selfie.
Right.
Well, we also are going to talk about the Soulard Market because it's one of our most historic places, and as we're celebrating 250 years of St. Louis history, there are so many things to see, so many historic places in St. Louis. In fact, we have one that we'd like to show people a little bit about. I don't know if either of you have ever taken the hike to the top of the Compton Water Tower. Have you ever done that?
No.
They're open like the first Saturday of every month, and you can go and do full moon viewings. When they have a full moon, you can go up to the top. It's an amazing view. So let's find out a little bit more about the Compton Water Tower here on STL Presents.
It was built in 1898 it's a surge tower. It was built to dampen the pressure surges that the pumps down at the river created when they pump the water up to the reservoir here. You're 170 feet up in the air and you have 360-degree view. You can see Jefferson Barracks south, well into Illinois, looking east, up to Alton north, clear out into the county looking west. So it's large, 25-mile radius. What we have done so far is that the comfort station is fixed and repaired and usable. The pond, the statue itself, and the grounds around it. And then we planted probably 800 trees in the park. Well, once you get in the tower, there's 198 steps. There's 7 landings on the way up, and the staircase is very wide, so it's not crowded. You don't have to go any particular speed. People can pass you going either way very easily. And as you can see on the side of the tower, it has those little slit windows, so you're not really closed in anywhere in there. Those slit windows are on all 4 sides. It's not that bad, and we had one guy that races up all the time, and he managed to make it in 1 minute and 23 seconds.
Well, there's a lot of breathtaking views from the tower there and a lot of amazing artwork as well. And speaking of artwork, there's a modern version of artwork, I guess you could call it, that's really taking selfies to a new level.
A new exhibit at PH Gallery features prominent St. Louisans and their selfies. Some of them got pretty creative with it, too.
And joining us now is the owner of the PhD Gallery, which is down on Cherokee Road, Philip Hitchcock. Hi, Philip.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Philip, we're comparing selfies with art, really?
Yeah, I think some of these selfies actually rise to the level of fine art. Some of them are quite ordinary, don't get me wrong, but some of them are really, really something to see.
What makes them art? What makes the ones that are art to you?
You know, selfies have been redefined by academics now as having their own structural autonomy. So they are unlike any other self-portrait historically that has been painted. The thing that's unique about a selfie is it's not just taken, it's immediately distributed to a web ring, like you were saying, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then you wait for feedback in the form of I likes or emails or whatever. And to that end, this form of self-portraiture is behavior changing.
Sandy, I just have a feeling you've taken a selfie or two.
I might have taken just a couple of selfies.
But how do you handle, Philip was talking about, you put it out there and you get feedback. I mean, it'd be great if everybody, you know, said nice things about you, but what about the other stuff?
Depending on where you are, depending on how public, you know, your social network is, whatever that may be, you may get that, depending on how that is. You're going to get some feedback. And not everyone likes selfies, from what I understand, too. I mean,
Right.
it's kind of a
You
lovely
have to remember that
relationship.
not everybody is putting out their worst selfie. I mean, I think you have to assume people have taken a few, they probably run them through filters,
Yep.
and then they publish them.
Well, let's get to this, and I was at the opening reception, and it was very, very interesting at Philip's PhD Gallery on Cherokee Street. Philip asked, I think it was 50 St. Louisans to
I
be
asked
part
quite
of
a
the
few
show.
more, but
Talk about
that's-
that.
Yeah, I asked probably closer to 75 or 80, and one of the selfies that's in the show is a blank profile, and that represents all the people who refused me. They either ignored me, refused me, or actually scorned me, because some people just say, I'm not a selfie kind of person. I really
That's what I said when you asked me.
Yeah, but I pressed you. I really put the thumb
Twisted my
screws on
arm.
you, yeah.
Hey, well, why don't we look at a few? So you've got about 50 up in the gallery
50 up now, yeah.
And I think we have a handful here we're going to take a look at. Maybe
Great.
you can say something about
Sure.
them and who they are.
Charles Bryson, who's the head of the Civil Rights organization here in the city.
He looks dignified and intelligent.
Yeah.
He is.
Let's run through these.
Darren Slyman, who's the publisher of The Vital Voice. He's dressed up there as Mr. Spock.
All kinds of face.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Darren.
That's, of course, Deborah Bass, who's the fashion editor for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
That's perfect for her.
Yeah,
That's so her.
she was a
That's
lot of fun with
perfection.
this.
Yeah.
Emily Stremming, who is a local photographer, currently has an exhibit coming up at the Photography Museum here
Her
in town.
selfie reflects what she does for a living.
Yeah.
Now,
I have no idea
he
who
looks
that guy
I
familiar.
don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
He's such a conservative, laid-back guy.
Yeah, I know. He's very shy and
so
reticent. It's hard to get him to even participate.
I love it.
Of course, local anchor Kevin Steincross, who does the news. This is one that I think does rise to the level of fine art.
That's
It's
so
like-
odd.
That is so.
This was taken with a cell phone, too, and she manipulated it using apps.
Is she a photographer?
She is, yeah. Yeah, she's a surrealist photographer.
Very interesting. Don't know who's... Oh, there we go, Nancy Kranzberg.
Right, who's a self-described cheerleader for the arts, you know, founded the Kranzberg Center here in town, and very philanthropic.
She also does commentaries on the radio program I host, Cityscape.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Let's go to the next one. Now,
I have no idea who that
Who
guy
could that
is.
be?
Yeah.
When I was talking to you earlier, I saw that, and it kind of interrupted our interview for 2 seconds.
so
I
how
think
much...
it interrupted you.
Philip, how much
Yeah,
negative...
me.
How much negative feedback do you get?
You know, I mean, the selfies are kind of this confluence of vanity and marketing and
Sure.
technology, and it's come together this way at this time, unlike any other time in history. So,
We've got a few more selfies to look at, and one is very important that I don't want you to miss.
Yeah, 'cause I
Is that
need to
coming
see
up still?
yours at some point.
Well, I told
Please,
you I
sir.
only took one, so there it is, my one and only
Oh,
selfie.
look at you!
love that shirt.
Do you like my fashion sense?
Yes,
yes,
I do.
I love it.
That was just taken in my backyard. The first time I ever did it, I had a couple of friends, and I said, is this how you do it?
How many did you take before you chose that one?
3 or 4.
Wow, that's nothing compared to what most people do.
The ones
Most
with the-
people take 50 before they find the one they want to post.
The ones with the double
Seriously.
chin I deleted. But Philip, here's what I want to ask you. I have read there are some like mental health professionals that almost say the selfie thing is a form of mental illness.
Well, it can
Wow,
be.
That's not good for me then.
It can be in that, you know, you are putting all of this information, these images out on a platform like Facebook, and you begin to shape your behavior according to how people react to you. So to the extent that you might be dependent on the validation that externally comes from this web ring is probably not a good indicator of self-esteem.
Okay, Phil, the PhD Gallery, your gallery is located on Cherokee Street, just a few blocks east of Jefferson. The
One block east of Jefferson.
One block, like I said, 1 block east of Jefferson. And the selfies that we saw are part of the big exhibit, and so tell us how long it's going to be there and when we can see it.
Selfies on view Thursday through Sunday, noon to 4, and it'll be up until July 19th.
And I understand that you're actually selling these. Have you sold any?
We've sold several.
How many are mine?
I'll have to go count.
I'll take 5.
That would be the whole edition. There are only editions of 5, so.
Somebody's got to buy them.
Supportive. Well, thank you so much for being here. We'll definitely be looking forward to checking that out.
Take a selfie quick before we go.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
of
definitely.
course. No, you've got your phone right there. We've got to do it.
Yeah.
It's got to be a good one, too.
And I'm sure this will...
Of course, you're going to have clothes on this one, though.
Ready?
Yeah, let's
Here we go. Selfie time. Woo-hoo.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much for being here with us, and look forward to the exhibit and breaking him into
I appreciate
taking
it.
selfies. And we're going to go ahead and send you guys off to break.
For those dealing with the struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for advice and support.
Over 13 million people are affected by famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Make a simple text donation of $10.
But do more than donate. Forward the facts.
Our next guest has been an educator at Carnahan School for the Future since 2006. She's been the recipient of awards in the past, including the Pettis Award for her work as a social studies teacher. And she's obviously doing something right because she now has under her belt the title of St. Louis Public Schools Teacher of the Year. Please welcome Diana Sumner. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
That is really exciting. Teacher of the Year.
Yes.
Tell me what your reaction was when you first got that nugget of news.
I was so excited. What made it amazing was when the students were told about it. That meant to me more than anything because they were rushing down the hallway to congratulate me. So it was a wonderful, exciting moment.
Carnahan School for the Future. For those who aren't necessarily familiar with that school, can you tell us a little bit about what Carnahan School for the Future is?
Carnahan High School, basically what the goal is to prepare students for either college or the workforce. And what we like to implement in our institution is technology. So trying to get them to understand how to use every piece of technology that is being used in the workforce and in college. And basically the goal is for every single teacher to implement technology.
Well, I have to give you credit because obviously you must be interesting your children, your students in social studies. I just had this experience of trying to get my kids to care about colonial Williamsburg, and they were like, whatever, Mom, not interested. So how do you interest kids in this day and age in social studies?
I actually get really excited when I have students come in and say they don't like history because I see that as a big challenge for me to make them buy into it. And really, it's not about making them buy into history. It's about making them see the relevance behind it and letting them know that it does have to do with you. So a lot of the times what I'll bring into the classroom is current events or anything that could deal with them personally. How can I bring that into my lessons?
Because it seems like in this world kids are growing up in with the internet where they have access to any subject in the whole world, it's almost made most of us more tunnel vision to just focus on the things that we want to focus on. So you have to explain to kids why it's important to their lives to know these other things.
And a lot of what I do in the classroom, because information is so ready to them so quickly, is I teach in that way. So if I'm presenting anything about like the Great Depression, for example, I will show a lot of pictures that were from that time, so they get a piece of, or they get a feeling for what it was really like. I'm not just talking about it, they're actually seeing it, because that's how they learn. They learn things so quickly, and they're so visual and oral, so that's how I present my lessons.
All right, we hear a lot of bad stories about kids today and people saying, oh, I can't imagine teaching a room full of kids today. What's your assessment of the students today?
They're the reason why I teach. Every single day they inspire me. Even there are very few days where I wake up and I'm like, oh man, I pretty much every day I want to go to work. But it's weird because there's days when, you know, if I'm not having a rough day, it's like students feel that, and there might be like one or two students that'll say something that will put me back on the horse and inspire me again. So to me, it's all about the students, and that's what keeps me going every single day.
Well, congratulations, Teacher of the Year.
Thank you.
Diana Sumner, our guest here on St. Louis Presents. And we're going to talk about a tradition that has been in St. Louis for over 200 years. We'll talk to the market manager of the Soulard Market coming up next on St. Louis Presents. Welcome back to St. Louis Presents. It's been a St. Louis tradition for more than 200 years.
From fresh produce, meat, and baked goods to flowers and home decor, the Soulard Farmers Market is something for everyone.
And we're going to check in right now with the market master, Ryan Burris. Ryan, 200 years, I mean, we have a lot of historic things and traditions in St. Louis, but very few can claim to be continuously running for that amount of time. It's pretty remarkable. The building itself, though, is not 200 years old, right? That's not the original building.
No, currently the building that we have on site was built in 1929. It's based on a Florentine hospital in the Renaissance style.
Interesting.
Wow. So I have never been to, I know, and I've lived here all my life. I have never been, we talked about this earlier, and I so want to go. So for someone who's a newbie like me who really wants to go, what would you say to expect for those of us who have not gone?
Yes, and let's talk about the days, because if you go on different days, you know, you may see completely different things.
Currently on Wednesdays and Thursdays, we're open from 8 to 5 p.m. and we have approximately 10 to 15% vendor participation on those days. Friday is a little bit different. We have approximately 40% vendor participation, and hours are the same, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday is our big day. We go from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., and we have 100% vendor participation on that day.
See, it's good to know this, Sandy, because one day I showed up on a random Wednesday, and I thought, oh, there's no one here. I wonder what's wrong.
Right.
And then you go on a Saturday, and
it's packed.
It is. Now, some of the vendors, especially the ones in the inside part, I mean, they're there year round, right? And are they pretty much always
That is correct.
there?
All the people that we say is in the Grand Hall area of the market, they are open year round, and they are open Wednesday through Saturday.
Okay, so that being said, for someone like me who's never been, what is, I guess, maybe is there a benefit besides just the experience and the ambiance of being at the farmer's market? Is there a difference, a huge difference outside of the, I guess, the experience at farmer's market versus going to a grocery store to get the same stuff?
Yes, the prices.
Okay.
Our vendors routinely beat supermarket prices on an everyday basis.
I'll be there.
Especially
Next
if,
weekend.
especially if you're a family of four, I would absolutely recommend coming down to Soulard Market Wednesday through Saturday to get all of your groceries.
Now, is there a reason how do the vendors of the Soulard Farmers Market offer their produce for that much less? Because it really is. I mean, you'll get. I remember I wanted to make pesto. I got this ginormous bag of basil for about $4. I couldn't believe it. So why? Why is it so much less expensive?
Well, our vendors, the ones that do resell produce, they get their produce from Produce Row up in North City, and they buy exactly the same, from the same place that, the supermarkets do, but they do get it at a better price. And they're able to cut down on their overhead and offer it up to the customers.
And it's not just produce either, Sandy. I mean, there's jewelry,
everything,
there's
right?
rugs, there's, I have to do a shout out to my friends at It's a St. Louis thing.
Ah,
They have all the
yes.
St. Louis products. So chickens, live ones.
That is correct. It's not just produce sellers that we have. We also have a number of farmers that come in, mostly from the Illinois side. We have a few from Missouri, but most of them do come from Illinois just because the logistics is shorter on their drives and, gasoline costs and what have you. Har Family Farms, they routinely offer, live chickens, live ducks, sometimes geese. Rabbits, if you want that thing. And he has a number of esoteric animals that do come in as well. Beaver.
Whoa.
Interesting. Okay.
Beaver, raccoons.
So you never know what
I was
you're
going to say, that's an experience.
We do.
Sounds like it's going to be an experience.
Yes, and also one of our newest vendors, we have an Amish farmer from Mass Family Farms. They offer chickens as well.
Wow. So is it always the same vendors? How do the vendors get involved? Is it usually, do they buy a space, or how is the market set up?
That's correct. Most of our vendors do have an annual lease, and they get that through the Parks, Recreation, Forestry Department. I myself, I can approve a daily vendor. Daily vendors usually come in on Friday and Saturday. They sign up early in the morning, and whatever spots I have available that an annual leaseholder might go on vacation, I assign them that spot. And
well, we are going to call you and have you give Sandy a personal tour.
Doc, please come down.
Ryan Burris is the market manager at Soulard Farmers Market. You definitely need to check it out. And right now, we're going to check out some news with Steve Potter.
Well, that was an interesting interview, and I want you guys to know that I'm going to go to Farmers Market and take a selfie of myself with produce. So I think Philip Hitchcock would appreciate that. Well, during the summer months, thousands of city children are left without access to a nutritious breakfast or lunch. In an effort to meet their needs, the city's Department of Human Services is again sponsoring Schools Out Cafe, funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The summer meal program allows kids 18 and under to eat free 5 days a week at locations throughout the city. People with a mental or a physical disability, as determined by a state or local agency, are also eligible to eat through the program. 26 vacant, condemned buildings near Rankin Technical College will be torn down in an effort to both reduce crime and prime the area for redevelopment. The area, bounded by Newstead Avenue to the west, West Finney Avenue to the south, Whittier Street to the east, and Cousins Avenue to the north, was chosen because of a strong chance it will attract new private investment. In addition to crime reduction and potential growth, the demolitions are also expected to boost the quality of life for current residents. Rankin has already committed nearly $10 million in redevelopment to the neighborhood. And St. Louis welcomed 79 students from the University of Texas as they made a brief stop along their route from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska. The Texas 4000 team, the longest annual charity bicycle ride in the world, will pedal 4,500 miles in support of the fight against cancer. Along the 70-day journey, riders will volunteer at community events, visit with cancer survivors and patients, and offer hope and encouragement to those who've been affected by the disease. And, I think it's great having a bicycle ride for a charity event and all that, but I thought maybe it's a good time now for us to discuss the pros and cons of taking selfies while on a bicycle.
That would probably not be a
Have you
good
thought
idea.
about that? It could be dangerous.
That would be horrible.
I did actually, while I was on vacation, saw this woman riding her bike, talking on her phone. I thought that looks a little dangerous.
Wow.
I know, I'm the lamest bicycle rider ever.
Safety,
I'll be honest
safety,
about
safety
it.
is important.
I'd be too scared to go on the street. Way too scared on a bike. But yeah.
All right, so we have to get Sandy and you to the Compton Water Tower, and Sandy's going to the Soulard
Yes.
Farmers Market. I think we should all make it our goal in 2014, celebrating the 250th birthday of St. Louis, for us to get to these amazing historic places.
It's interesting too that even for people who spend their whole life in a city, you'd be amazed at maybe a couple of places that you haven't been. So
Yeah.
We've all been
I'm
to the
excited
Arch,
about
though, right?
The farmers
Oh,
market.
sure.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Scariest thing ever.
That's good.
For me. You already know, my height issue.
The little
we have
egg?
issues with that, yes.
could see
We've been
you-
up there and I will never go back.
Sandy, a selfie at the Arch.
Hey, she did a trapeze. She can.
Yeah,
she can
I
do
did
the
that.
arts. Well, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of St. Louis Presents, and whether it's going up in the Arch or whether it is the Soulard Farmers Market, I'm sure throughout the rest of our shows we'll be profiling lots of great places for St. Louisans to go, and definitely check out that selfie exhibit. I want to see how that one that you guys took goes. And you're going to have a selfie with a melon?
Yeah,
Is that
a
what
melon,
you said?
yeah, maybe an onion. I don't know. I'll have to give
I'm
some
going to buy
thought
some
to
of your
that.
selfies, by the way. We're going to.
Are you?
We're going to support, of course.
There are 5 selfies of everybody available for sale, so if you see any others
Well,
that
you
like
need
there.
to take one of yourself shirtless, like Philip, the
Yeah,
curator
show
of the
the-
exhibit did. Show
Yes.
off
Well,
that six-pack.
I'll go to the gym for 3 years, and then when I look like Philip, I will. Thank you, Debbie.
It was just a suggestion.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It's worth a trip if you haven't been down there. Gallery hours again are Thursdays through Sundays. I think it is noon to 4.
And then are you doing like a film showcase or something?
I'm in a little comedy film short. I'm featured in it. It's called The Regency by the filmmaker Daniel James, and it's just been selected to screen at the Tivoli as part of the St. Louis Filmmaker Showcase.
Oh, wow.
On Sunday, July 13th, they're going to show all the comedy films, so you might want to put that on your count. Maybe we can have him on as a guest or something.
Yeah.
Did I hear somewhere, or did I hallucinate, that you will be playing a senile proctologist?
Yes, a senile proctologist, and get this, there's one scene
I've
when
never
I'm...
said those two
Wow,
words together
right,
before.
right.
There's this one scene when I'm doing the examination, and we know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Where my cell phone rings, and without stopping the examination, I answer my cell phone. I'm talking about what I had for dinner last night.
And do a selfie while doing a
At the
DRE.
same time.
I hadn't thought of that.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
That's not.
Okay, well, on that note, we should say thank you for joining us for this episode
And
of St. Louis Presents.
We apologize for everything we've said.
Thanks to all of our guests, and thank you at home for watching.
And of course, make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere, YouTube. Make sure to follow us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Potter the Senile Proctologist.